Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Stitch Sessions. It's me, Karen. I thought we'd do a quick little tutorial today on how to do the chainless foundation row. I've had a few people ask me this question because recently in one of our hat tutorials, I used this chainless foundation row to begin the project. And it's a great way to create a little bit of more relaxed give to your projects. You can certainly start with your traditional chain rows. These are usually used for flat type projects like scarves or blankets, etc., but can also be used for projects in the round. So I'm just going to show you how we're going to do that today. So I have a bit of scrap yarn here that I've got left over. And so you can do this with obviously any yarn and any hook size, but just for today's purposes, the hook size I'm using is a 6.5 millimeter hook, also known as a K or 10.5. And this is just a slightly bulkier type of yarn. So what we're going to do is you can make different types of chainless foundation rows. So the most common ones that are used are chainless single crochet foundation rows and chainless double crochet foundation rows. And today I'm going to show you how to do both. The first chainless foundation row we're going to work on is the chainless single crochet foundation row. I know it's quite a mouthful, isn't it? Okay, so what you want to do is you want to begin with a slip knot. There's many different ways to do it, but this is the way I do my slip knot. Just like that. Once you've secured a slip knot onto your hook, you're going to chain 2. Just nice and easy, just like that. Okay. Now we're going to begin doing our actual foundation row without actually using any more chains. The second chain from the hook, you're going to find that, it's just right there, and you're going to place your hook into that chain. You'll yarn over and pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops on your hook right now. What we're going to do is we're going to yarn over and pull through the first loop only. And what that does is that creates a chain right there. You now have 2 loops again on your hook, and this time you're going to yarn over and pull through all of them. So hopefully you can see that. So this is now the last thing we did was created the actual single crochet stitch. And the first time we pulled a loop through, that created our next chain. So hopefully you can see that there. So now we've got a chain with a single crochet on top of that. Let's do that again. We're going to take our hook, and I like to kind of hold mine here so I can remember where that actual chain is. So I just pull it apart like that so you can see. I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to insert it into that chain stitch I created. I'll yarn over and pull up a loop. I will yarn over again and pull through the first loop only. That now, if I just kind of pull that apart like that, that's created our next chain stitch. See that? So we had one at the beginning, the second one, this is the third one. Now we need to create our single crochet to sit on top of that chain. So I'm going to yarn over and pull through both loops. So you can see it's starting to grow. And let's do it again just to make sure that it makes sense. So I like to hold on to that chain so I can remember where it is. We're going to place our hook into where that last chain is. Going to yarn over, pull up 1 loop there. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, but you want to yarn over and only pull through the first one because that is what creates our chain. See that? Then we'll yarn over and then we pull through both. So hopefully you can now see that. I've done a few. Okay, so you've got the single crochet stitches along the top, and you've got your chains along the bottom, or what we would consider the chains. So see that, those spaces there? Those chains belong to the bottom. of these stitches. And so the beauty of using this type of foundation row is that it does indeed give you a lot more stretch to your project. So you may hear me talk a lot about how when we first start off with our foundation chain, that you want to chain it loosely because it's very common for it to bunch there. Or sometimes you'll hear me suggest that you should go up a hook size when doing your chain and then go back down to the regular hook. And it's exactly for this reason. It's so that it doesn't get too tight and too bunched at the bottom. So some people like to use the chainless foundation row. So this is how you would do it if you were using single crochet stitches to begin a project. So I'm going to do a couple more just so that you can see the effect at the end. So again, I just want to find that last chain I created. So it's that one right there. I'm going to insert my hook into the chain, yarn over and pull up a loop. So I have 2 loops. I'm going to yarn over and pull through the first one only. That creates my chain, and I think you can see that there. And now I'm going to yarn over and pull through both of them, and that's my single crochet. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do a few more just so that you will be able to see what the effect will look like. Just sometimes it's hard when you only have 1 or 2 stitches to look at something. I'll do one more here. So I chain through the first one and I chain through 2. So there we have it. So you can see that your row is growing, and now your chain along the bottom isn't as tight as maybe a traditional chain would be at the beginning, just like that. And then when you're ready to go on to the next row, you would just do how you normally would do it. So in this case, if I'm using single crochets, I would still chain 1, turn my work, and continue on. So now I have regular stitches to work into. So I would just insert and single crochet as usual, if single crochets are what I'm using. And that's basically the gist of it. If you're working in the round, then you would slip stitch to join. Actually, I'll discuss working in the round. So I'm just going to take this out because this is also another common question. So we've done our foundation, our chainless foundation row, for example. Now let's say you're working on a circular project and you want to slip stitch to join. You would do so. Okay. The only thing that you're going to notice, so you want to turn your work the end here, and you want to slip stitch into the top of the first stitch. You're not going to slip stitch into the chain portion, and this is where things get a little bit funky. So I'm going to slip stitch into that first, or into the top of the stitch there. And now I've joined my work, right? So what can be a little funny, I'm just going to get that tail out of the way. What can be a little funny is now you've got the bottom of your 2 chains are kind of sitting there loose. So sometimes what I will do is I will actually use this tail, and I will, hopefully you guys can see that. I know it's a bit bright here. I will find the bottom of this stitch, which is this chain right here, and then I will just feed that tail through. See that? So now you really have cinched up your chain portion of your foundation row, and now the top of your stitch is also joined, and now you can work in the round as usual. So some of you use this technique to make like mittens and things like that. So this you would probably weave in that end a couple of times to really secure that. Otherwise, I know that you're going to feel like there's a little bit of a little gap sitting there. So that's the only thing about working with the chainless foundation row when you're working in the round, is there is going to be that little gap in join, but it's something as simple as just taking your tail and weaving it in at the end, and it'll secure it shut. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you guys. If it's not clear at all, please do leave me a comment down below and I'll be happy to revisit this technique again. Okay, so let's move on to the chainless foundation double crochet row now. Okay, so we're going to begin the chainless double crochet foundation row. That is definitely a mouthful. The same way, we want to start with a slip knot on our hook. Okay, but this time we're going to chain 3 to begin instead of 2. Okay, just like that. So once you've chained 3, you're going to yarn over this time. Okay, so we're going to start off by yarning over, and now you want to find the 3rd chain from your hook, and that's where you're going to insert your hook. Remember, don't count the knot. You'll yarn over and pull through. So you do have 3 loops on your hook right now, but we want to create our chain first. So you will yarn over and pull through the first one only. And that is what creates our chain. So I'm just pulling this up so you can see what's happening here. So see, that's our next chain. Now you're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2 like you normally would do with the double crochet. 2 loops will remain. You'll yarn over and pull through the next 2. And there you have your very first official double crochet on top of your chain right there. Now remember that chain 3 at the beginning? The bottom, the 3rd chain counts as the base of your stitch, and the next 1 and 2 stitches will count to represent the height of a double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to do a few more so you can see. So I'll always yarn over first when you're doing a double crochet, and in fact this same principle follows true for the half double crochet. So always yarn over first. Find the bottom of that last stitch you just made, so it's right there, so that's my chain. I'll insert my hook into that. I'll pull up a loop, and 3 loops will be on my hook. I will yarn over, pull through the first one only. That creates the chain, and then I go about my business and finish off the double crochet. Just like that. Okay, again, I always like to kind of just pinch out that chain at the end, so I always know that's the last one I'm working into. I'm going to yarn over first, insert into the last chain I had created, yarn over and pull through. Now this is where it can get easy to just start doing a double crochet and forget about the chain, but always have to remember, pull through one first to create the chain, and then you can resolve your double crochet. Just like that. So technically we now have 4 double crochets. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. Yarn over. I'm going to find that last chain I created, insert my hook. I'll yarn over and pull through. 3 loops will be on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and only pull through the first one. Okay, that creates my chain. I'm going to yarn over, and now I'm going to pull through the next 2, yarn over, and pull through the next 2. And there you have it. So of course you can make this as long as you like. Same principle would apply if you're working in the round, but again, you can see how it gives just that nice, really relaxed stretch to your stitch. And the same thing would apply, like I said, with a half double crochet. You just have to make sure that you yarn over first before you go into your chains. And that's it. That's all. That is the chainless foundation row using the single crochet stitches and the double crochet stitches. So I hope you've enjoyed today's quick little tutorial on the chainless foundation rows. And if you have any other questions, please do drop me a comment in the comment box down below, or you can always email me directly, info@crochetcrafty.com. And some of you come over and say hi to me on Instagram, which I love. So I'm at The Stitch Sessions. And I'm more than happy, and I love to do these types of tutorials because once you have your foundation principles once you get a good grasp of those, the more challenging stitches and concepts do begin to look a little bit easier. So thank you so much for coming along. Love to share my crochet journey with you all, and I look forward to seeing you in the next session. And if you haven't pressed that subscribe button already, make sure you do so you never miss another episode. I upload every Wednesday morning. In the meantime, everyone, have an amazing day. Happy crocheting and take care.